right. Good morning, everyone. We're going to give everyone a few more minutes to file on in for the training session here. Okay, we got 6 now, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. So good morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for attending the 2025 Freight Priorities Program training session. My name is Tom Brandenstein. I'm an associate with White House Group, and this is my 4th year running this program. And today, I, along with my colleague Haitao Yu from Cambridge Systematics, will be covering the basics of the MPOAC's Freight Priorities Program and the practical knowledge needed to submit your agency's freight project to the program. The program is entering its 8th overall year, so it has been a few years now in the works, but we know that some of you are newer to the program, so we will be covering the basic material that is needed to get you familiar with the program eligibility, as well as how to utilize the online application portal to submit your freight projects to the program. All right, so participation. We do want to encourage participation throughout the presentation, no matter if you're newer or a veteran. If you do have a question, feel free to interrupt the presentation at any time. And there's 2 ways you can do that. You can use the raise your hand feature, and Lauren, who is hosting from MRG, will unmute you, and you can go ahead and ask your question. Or if you'd rather use the chat feature, that's also available. So you can type your question into the chat, and Lauren will read that aloud for me or Haitao to answer. Note that the presentation will also be recorded and will be made available for you to view at a later time on the FPP's online application portal website. So if you feel like you missed something during the live presentation, don't worry. You can always go back and go back to the place where you need to and re-listen to any point of this presentation. Okay. So on the agenda today, the first half of the training will cover information on the program, the resulting project list that is created from the projects that are submitted to the program, and also some statistics on the program's past performance. The second half of the training will cover the practical aspects of submitting a project application, including the online application portal and the support materials that are made available to you as you're submitting your projects to the portal. Haitao will then go through a live demonstration of the application portal, so you can see exactly how to maneuver the portal and get those projects submitted. And then we'll finish off with the schedule moving forward and any final questions that you may have for us. So there's 5 training session goals that we hope you get out of today. We want you to have a good understanding of the purpose and process of the FPP. We also want to cover project eligibility, so you know which projects you could submit. 3, we want to learn how to submit online, how you can submit online applications on that online portal application. And also we want you to understand what assistance is available to you as you're going through that submittal process. And finally, we want to note all the important dates that you need to keep in mind as you're going through the process and making sure you get your project submitted on time before the deadline. So these are the 3 basic outcomes we hope to accomplish with the Freight Priorities Program. And we will look into each of these a little more in depth and what we hope results from them. So the first is to provide MPOs with an opportunity to identify high priority freight projects on an annual basis. In preparation for project submittals to the program, MPOs will first need to identify their most pressing freight needs in their area. Once they've identified, agencies will then need to prioritize the projects that address those needs and submit them to the program. The annual cycle of the program allows for recent changes in your area to be taken into account and adjust for project submittals on a yearly basis. The second is to use the MPOAC as a united voice to promote the MPO priorities. The program uses a strength in numbers approach and gives all MPOs in the state a chance to participate and submit projects to the project list. The project list is then endorsed by 3 separate committees within the statewide body of the MPOAC, ensuring projects have met the requirements set by the committee. The project list is then transmitted to FDOT leadership by the MPOAC executive director. And finally, final program goal purpose is to position projects for future funding opportunities. The ultimate goal is then to see the projects that are included on the list receive or advance funding needs. The program does not directly fund any projects, but does position them for increased chances for funding. FDOT considers the list during its internal prioritization process. Networks are a way that the list targets specific funding opportunities. We highlight the state highway system, strategic intermodal system, and national highway freight program. So FDOT can easily identify which projects are eligible for their programs. And one highlight on the national highway freight program, FDOT has actually integrated the list into its prioritization process. So that's the one area where we do see the list actually being integrated into FDOT's processes for prioritizing projects. Finally, the list can also be used to boost project applications competing for discretionary grant funds, such as the Infra Grant or the Build Grant or any other grant programs. I know I work on a lot of grants, and we're always looking to include supplementary materials for that grant application to bolster its competitiveness. So this is a great opportunity to include in those grant packages if the project falls onto this FPP list. Okay, now we'll go over a process overview. For any of the veterans on the call, the process has not had any major changes for this year. It will follow the same basic steps that it has in the past. There are 5 main components within the FPP process. First, MPOs choose the projects they would like to submit. There are 6 total submissions allowed per MPO. And then this is further broken down into a max of 3 state highway system roadway projects and then 3 non-state highway system roadway projects. And we'll cover those eligibility criteria of each of those categories in a little more in depth on the next few slides. Once the projects have been chosen, each project needs an application submitted on the online application portal. And you can see the link to that is there. And the portal, it is a custom website that was developed by Service Edge Solutions. I believe Ronnie Bunner's on the call here. And so if there's any technical questions that come up on the actual use of that online application portal, we do have him on the call too to be able to answer any of those questions. And the online portal will also serve as your kind of central point for any documentation or any guidance needs. Both mine and Hightow's contact information are on there. So if you ever have a question, you can go to that portal welcome page and it will be right there for you to find our contact info and reach us. And that project submittal period this year will be running from February 28th through March 28th. And we'll get into the schedule a little more in some later slides. Once applications are submitted, they will be reviewed by the consultant team. Follow-up questions may be needed, so make sure you are available until you've received final confirmation of your projects being accepted. And you'll get a bunch of auto-generated emails letting you know the project status as it moves through that review process. When project submission window closes, the consultant team will then offload all the project application data and create the project list. Prior to the April meeting, a draft project list will be sent to all participating agencies to confirm all the public-facing information is correct on the list and give you a final chance to make any adjustments before that is then submitted to the committee. And once it is presented to the Freight and Rail Committee, they have the opportunity to endorse the project list. Once it's endorsed by the Freight and Rail Committee, it then moves on to the staff directors and governing board for their final approval of the project list. Then once we get that final approval, the MPOAC director will send that project list off to the FDOT leadership teams. Okay, so any questions starting off on the process, or we feel good about that? Okay, sounds good. So moving on to project eligibility and requirements. As mentioned in the previous slide, eligible projects are broken down into two categories: state highway system roadway and non-state highway system roadway projects. State highway system roadway projects have been included in all 8 years of the Freight Priorities Program. And in 2022, the Freight and Rail Committee voted to expand that program after feedback was communicated from some agencies that their highest freight priorities did not fall on that network. So that's why you're seeing the difference between those two categories. The new project types that were introduced in 2022 fall into that non-state highway system roadway category, and we'll go over the exact modes on the next slide that those fall into. The state highway system roadway projects obviously must fall on the state highway system network, and they must be a roadway project. The Freight and Rail Committee has also set the requirement that the project has its PD&E, so environmental, at least funded. Projects cannot be accepted to the program if they do not meet that requirement. So that's one of the main criteria to watch out for when you're selecting projects to submit to the program. Other than that, the only other requirement for the projects to meet is for them to be able to accept accelerated funding. So kind of getting back to that PD&E requirement, we want these projects to kind of be past the planning and any roadblock to progression of the project. So we want it more in the kind of construction phase and able to accept that funding if it becomes available, and FDOT can make a snap decision to include in a prioritization process. And of these types of projects, there are a maximum of 3 allowed per MPO. So moving on to the non-state highway system roadway projects now. These include non-state highway system roadway projects, intermodal logistics center access projects, truck parking projects, and also rail projects. So if it doesn't fall in the state highway system roadway, then it moves into this category. Once again, we do require, if a PD&E is required of the project, it also must be funded at least. And it must also be able to accept that accelerated funding. And these also have a maximum of 3 submittals per MPO. Other than these mentioned requirements, the only other requirements to the project submittals are just making the case that this is a freight priority project for the for your MPO's region, and then also for the state. Okay, so now we're going to cover the roles and responsibilities of the different parties that contribute to the Freight Priorities Program. Each group has its own role within the process. MPO's responsibilities include submitting project applications, using the list to advocate for their projects, and providing program feedback. We want to highlight the program feedback as an essential component so that we can make the program as easy as possible and useful for MPOs to submit these projects and increase participation across the state. The more participation statewide we get demonstrates the program's worth to FDOT and will increase its influence on its funding decisions. Then the consultant team, they are responsible for administering the program, creating that final project list, and then also implementing any program changes that come about from the Freight and Rail Committee leadership. The MPOAC serves as the uniting body and single voice of the program. And FDOT uses the list to consider for any of their project funding decisions. Those are the four groups that make up the program. Now we will cover an example of what this final project list will look like once we've collected the applications and then we've offloaded the data and put the final product together. So the list portion of the project list is broken down by FDOT district, making it easier for district freight coordinators to be able to locate projects and that apply to their areas. In this example, we're using District 3, but you can also see the full list from 2024. It's available on the MPOAC's website within the Freight and Rail Committee's page on there. So you can see the whole list submittal from last year. The list also highlights other components important to FDOT in their considerations, including those network designations we talked about, and also the PD&E status of the project, and if it also is a district freight coordinator priority. So other than the list portion, the project list also includes a few maps. The first map being the statewide distribution of the projects. So here you're seeing the 36 projects that were submitted across the state on the left-hand side. And then also for each district, there is a zoomed in map that shows the location of all the submitted projects and some of the important networks that those projects fall on. And once again, if you want to see the whole list, it is available on the MPOAC's website. Okay, moving on to some historical performance. These slides show some of the submission trends that the program has seen over the years. There were 36 projects submitted to the program last year. The majority of submissions were state highway system roadway projects, but submissions of truck parking and non-state highway roadway projects have steadily been increasing since their introduction in 2022. So I believe the 23 list saw 4 truck parking and 2 non-state highway system roadway projects. So we've seen a little increase as these new modes have become available to MPOs to submit on. Projects submissions overall have remained in the mid-30s throughout the history of the FPP. You can see last year was 36, year prior was 37, and that kind of matches even the initial year when we had 37 submittals. Submittals of projects eligible to the federal National Highway Freight Program have increased over the course of the program, with 20 projects submitted on the National Highway Freight Network in the 24 year. So we've seen a increase of projects falling on that network. And one of those reasons is that, as I mentioned prior, FDOT Freight and Rail Office has incorporated the Freight Priorities Program project list into their scoring for their project prioritization for these types of funds. So once we've gotten a confirmation that this list is being utilized in that capacity, we have seen the submittals for the National Highway Freight Program projects increase. And here you are seeing a table that the Freight and Rail Office provided me with last year's project list and which projects on that list are programmed with National Highway Freight Program funding through 2030. So you can see we had 9 total projects from last year's list fall in to the eligible category for the National Highway Freight Program and then also receive funding for their project. So those 9 projects total out to about $99.7 million in National Highway Freight Program funding allocated to them through 2030. The National Highway Freight Program is not the only funding source that we try to influence, but since it has been the one where we've gotten consistent feedback from FDOT, and identified that the FPP list was being utilized and prioritized. This has been kind of a focus area of us presenting some results that we have seen from the list use. Okay, so moving on to some of the support materials that will be available to you for this 2025 cycle. The first document here is the instructions, and the instructions are your first source of help. The instructions begin with a brief overview of the program and all the important dates that you need to keep in mind. And the instructions also list out all the questions from the online application in a table and provide you with some more clarity on the types of responses that we are looking for to receive for each question. So if you have any kind of questions on how to answer something, this would be your first source to go to. And then if that still doesn't clarify it for you, myself or Hightow are available. So reach out to us and we can help you out. The next document that we provide is a district freight coordinator checklist to help facilitate conversations with your district freight coordinator. The district freight coordinators have a strong knowledge of FDOT's work program scoring criteria, which projects which projects are good contenders for this discretionary grant programs that we talked about, and also the projects that they are going to submit on their own district priority lists. So we encourage collaboration with the district freight coordinators to inform your decision making, but we don't want the district freight coordinators selecting your actual priorities that you submit. Those are yours to decide on, and you have the ability to submit whichever projects you would like. The final document that we provide is the feedback form. It allows anyone to provide feedback on the overall program, online portal, and individual questions from the project applications. Feedback is what has shaped the program into what it is today. So hearing any pain points from you as participants can help us make a better and more influential program. One example is this program used to be done on Word document applications, and we definitely got a lot of feedback that it was time consuming and difficult for agencies to complete. So that's what led to the introduction of the online portal. So we've definitely used the feedback in the past to kind of make the program better. Once you have completed a feedback form, you can send it to myself or Hightow. And just to reiterate that all of these support and feedback forms are available on the welcome page of the online portal application. So that's where you'll find them. Okay. So moving on from the guidance documents, we're going to look a little bit at the actual online application portal in a static mode here. And then in a few later slides, Hightow will actually take us through this online application in a live mode and show you a demonstration. So the welcome page is what you're seeing here. And this is the publicly accessible page that is first page that you will see once you go to the FPP portal link. As I said, all the FPP support documents and this training presentation, as well as the recording of this session, will also be available on that guidance side or guidance area on the left-hand side on the bottom. So that's where you can find those. Then there are two sources of help listed. On the right-hand side from those guidance materials are the contact information for myself and Hightow. So you can send us questions directly on the program and any questions on how questions should be filled out within the application. Those can go to us, whereas at the bottom of the screen, you're seeing the report website issues. Any website technical functionality questions should be directed down there. Those will be sent to Rodney, and he can help you on that end work through any issues on the technical side of the website. So to move on from this welcome page, you have two options, the green MPO sign-in button on the middle or up at the top right is where you're going to want to go. And once you click that, you will be directed to the MPO sign-in page here. To sign into your unique MPOs page, you will use the drop-down box, find your agency, and then you will enter your agency's unique passwords. So the unique passwords will be sent to your agency's designated contact and executive director on February 28th. So on Friday, that's when you will receive those passwords to log in. And just to update you, the passwords you used in the prior years, those will no longer work. So you got to wait till you get the new login information on Friday. So once you've logged in to your agency specific page, you will be able to create, edit, and delete project applications from here. Applications from the previous years will already be pre-populated into your application list. You seeing those in that the list in the screenshot there. They will also be moved back to the first step of the application process. So you'll have to go in and reconfirm all the information that was included in the previous years. You can also use the Create FPP application button on the right-hand side. That will give you a blank application to create one from scratch. And applications are broken into a 3-step process, which Haitao will cover a little more in depth during the demonstration. But this page here will allow you to see at which step each application is currently in. So the majority of the ones you're seeing there are in that first initial step, whereas that third from the bottom is all the way through its 3 steps. And the green is showing you that all 3 steps have been completed. That project, though, although all 3 steps have been completed, to the right of the 3rd step there is that submit button. I do want to highlight that button. So it's showing blue means the project has not been submitted yet. So you want to make sure once you've completed all 3 steps of the application, are happy with it, you push that blue submit button, because that will actually send it to us for a review. So it's not technically submitted until the submit button's hit. Also on the right-hand side is a project filter. This will allow you to filter your project list by several different categories, including that state highway system versus non-state highway system breakdown, and a few other options available to you related to the project application status. And then finally, at the top of the page are a few different tabs. The instructions give a brief overview of the process and a few important dates. Training materials tab will redirect you to those guidance documents that we covered earlier. And then there is also a review key legend up there to let you know what the different colors mean. That blue color still needs input. The green means it's completed. The gray means a review is in process. So that's in our hands, and then we're taking care of it from there. Once you get feedback, the red button will let you know that a review was completed, but there was something wrong with the application. And we'll get into how that feedback is communicated in a second here. And then the yellow status option is that step's not available till the prior step is completed. So even though there are 3 steps, it has to be completed in order. So you got to complete step 1 before you can move on to 2, before you can move on to 3. Okay, and then there's also the Manage button on this page, and the Manage button will allow you to view any application review feedback. So once we get it, we'll write in our feedback if we have any, if we're sending it back, or if it looks good. You can see either of those messages in the Manage button by clicking that down and clicking the View MPOAC Feedback. You will also be alerted with a Portal auto-generated email that you have new feedback. So watch your emails. You'll probably get the first notification there first, and then you can come in and see exactly the comments either in the email or within the MPOAC feedback button listed here. Also on the Manage button, you have the option to remove an FPP application. So say you have a prior year's application, it has no more you don't have any intention to submit that this year or in the future, you can go ahead and delete that out and clear up your project list there. And then finally, we have also a summary report option. This will only be available once a project application has been completed. Once you get through all 3 steps and are ready to submit, you can then download a PDF summary report. And also we have a little update to that this year. It was introduced last year, and this year we've done some formatting updates, and we also now include the live links to those PDF applications. So you can print these off and store them on your own MPO's server or wherever you store documents, and also print these off for viewing within groups at your individual MPOs. So these are what the new summary reports look like. Okay. So the unique agency login passwords will be sent to each agency's executive director and designated contacts on February 28th, the same day that the portal will open for submissions. Designated contacts will receive all those portal generated communication emails that I was talking about. And these contacts can be changed by emailing me directly. We allow up to a total of 5 recipients to receive these per agency. Based on agency feedback from the past, if you are expecting a portal email and did not receive one, we advise you to check your spam folder first. Some agency firewalls were directing these emails to their spam folders, so that was one solution. If you still don't see it in there, then go ahead and email myself or Hightow, and we can look into why you didn't receive one. Yep. And then also just note that you will see the sender address as myself. So it would be coming from T. Brandenstein at White House Group. So if you're expecting any portal emails, expect that in the sender list. And these are our list of designated contacts as of now. So just check over, make sure your agency designated contact is correct. If it does need an update, you can email myself and I will make that change. And then also in previous years, if you've told me you wanted to be included in those emails, I have kept those within the system. So you should be receiving those emails even if you are not on this list. But in prior years, you have alerted me to include you. Okay, now we'll look a little bit closer at that review process. So all the applications will go through a review. This process is mainly just verifying that the answers satisfy the question. We're not trying to deny any project's entry. We just want to make sure that all applications comply with the stipulations that were set and voted on by the Freight and Rail Committee. Verifications set in place will ensure completeness and not allow incomplete applications to progress. So you can move on to that step 2 until you've filled out all the required fields in step 1 of the application. If more information is required, comments will be sent back referencing the question ID that needs to be answered. So you're seeing that in the example on the right-hand side. Review is being sent back for question 9S. In our review comments, we are directly referencing which question needs that extra information. So there's no confusion on which changes need to be made to an application if it is sent back. And like I said, these will generate, once these review comments are sent, they will generate those auto-generated emails. So you'll get an email, then you can also go into the system and see that feedback within that project using the Manage button there. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are no major changes to the application for this year of the FPP. We did want to highlight a couple questions, though, that have sometimes given respondents some issues in the past. One question that we do want to highlight. It's either 10S on the state highway system roadway application or 7N on the non-state highway system roadway application. We did add a little clarifier that we would like for you to include the amount of funding for the requested action. This is just so we include the correct requested funding amount in the actual public-facing project list document. An example response to this could be to fund, 32 million of the construction phase for the project in fiscal year 2027. That would be kind of what we're looking for an answer to this one. So we didn't change the question. We just kind of added that little clarification to please include the funding amount that's being requested for your action. Then the other one we highlight each year is for the state highway system roadway application specifically. We do clear out the funding table that we provide. So if you had a resubmittal from the previous years, this table will be cleared out and need to be refilled in. We want these to be filled in with the most up-to-date information. That's why we clear these out each year, and also so we can move up the years in the columns to align with the current 5 years out. Then these should, if it's a state highway system roadway project, should either match the FDOT 5-year work program table, or you should provide a URL to the source that you are using to fill these out. Okay, so that is our last static slide. So from here, we are going to move on to the live demonstration. Before I do that, do we have any questions from anyone? Okay. All right, Hightail. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let you take over.
Great, thank you, Tom. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Hightail Yu. I'm with the Cambridge Systematics. I'll be doing a live demonstration, and I'll be covering 3 topics. The first topic, I'm gonna go over the website, the portal, to give you some basic ideas of those components. And also the second topic I'm going to cover is I'm gonna show you how to submit a new project. And third one is, the third topic for today is I'm gonna show you how to resubmit a project from previous years. So I'm gonna share my screen. So I assume that everyone can see my screen.
Yep.
That's not good. Okay. So this is a welcome page. I think Tom just kind of walked you through the welcome page, just in the previous slides. I'm gonna quickly go over again for this. So as Tom mentioned earlier, there are 2 options to sign in for the MPO. There's a green button in the center of the web page, and there's also upper right side of the website. You can see there's another button for the MPO sign in, and there's also another MPOAC team button. Please do not use that one. That is for our consulting team to use. So through the process, if you have any questions, there's a lower right side of the website. You can see my contact and also Tom's contact information here. So I'm gonna use this button, click on the button. So here you can see there's a drop-down menu for you to select the agency that you're representing. So if you're Bay County, just check the Bay County TPO and use that login details, which will be sent this Friday. So for this demonstration, I'll be using the training account to give you a demonstration of this portal. Click on the sign in. So you will be directed to kind of the welcome page for the portal. There are kind of 4 tabs. The first tab is instructions. So you will have all the instructions how to use this system and kind of the background of this program. And one note I want to make here today is that open application period for this year is between February 28th to March 28th. So between these 2 days, we'll kind of open the system and accept this the day the system will be closed. And as Tom covered in earlier slides, each agency will be have a maximum of 3 SHS projects to submit, and also for non-SHS project, the number is also 3. So the second tab is training material, which has all the resource links for all the instructions, checklists, and also the feedback form you can download from here. The review key shows you the kind of where you are during the submission process. So it's blue box, means that's pending, it's still in progress, needs your input. Gray, if the button is grayed out, it means that review is in process, and gray means review is completed, and the red and the yellow means not applicable or not available. So I'm going to show you in just a sec for this process. And the fourth tab is designate contact. So here you can see who are the designated contact and their information for your agency. The bottom of the web page has all the projects for the current year and also the previous years. So as you can see, the first column is the FPP ID, which is a system generated project ID for the portal. And the second column is the project name. Pretty straightforward. This is the name of your project. And third column is steps. It shows that where you are for the process of summation. And the fourth column, it has the submit button, also the manage button, which I'm going to show you during the lab demonstration. So that kind of covers my first topic for today, some basics of the website and also the portal. So before moving on to the second topic, I want to make sure if anyone has any questions. Hearing none, so I'm gonna start our second topic today. So I want to show you how to create a new FPP application. So on this table, on the upper right of the table, you will see there's a button called Create a FPP application. So when you want to start with a new project, you click on this button. It will direct you to a new web page, which will start to ask you all the questions, all the information for your new project. So for today's demonstration, I'm going to use a project from a previous year submission, which is it's not a real project. It's just for the demonstration purposes. So the first question it will ask you for the project name. So that's the project name here. So I'm just going to use the State Road Okeechobee Roadway project as an example. For the facility name, it will ask you the facility of this project. So just view the State Road 25 Okeechobee Road. So the third question is asking you the project category. As Tom mentioned earlier, that there are 2 types of projects. So as state highway system project and also non-state highway system project. So based on your project, you kind of check the options that applies to your project. So for this one, so when you pick different categories, the system will kind of ask you different set of questions. So which I'm going to show you in just a sec. So for this one, I'm going to pick up the SHS project. The fourth question is asking you, are there any other MPOs involved in this project? This question is pretty straightforward. If there are any other MPOs, you just check yes, and select all that apply. So for example, if Miami-Dade, Ocala, they are also involved, I'll just select Miami-Dade, Ocala projects. So the fifth question is which counties are involved in this project. So just type in the county name. So for this one, we'll just say Miami-Dade. The sixth question is also is asking, are there any private partners involved in this project? So if no, just check no. If yes, just tap in the private partner's name. For example, if ABC company is involved, I'll just say ABC company in this box. So this last question of the first page will be asking you, is this a district freight coordinator priority project? For this one, you can coordinate with your own district freight coordinator to say if your project's their priority project. So for this one, I'll just check no. And at the bottom, you will see the FDOT contact information for your district will be pre-populated, so you do not have to worry about this session. It will be pre-filled. So once you finish the thing, you can save the draft and come back later to finish the rest of the steps, or you can continue to finish the rest of the steps. Okay, so there's a warning, project name entered already has, so I'll just do a random number just to pass this system error. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, when you select different project types, you will have different set of questions for the step 2. So this is the state highway system project questions. So you will have to answer the project type and the description of the project, and also the project rationale and the project FM number, the roadway ID, and the direction of the project, and also some other background information of this project. But I also want to show you when you check non-SHS project category, what are the questions are. So I'm going to go back and select non-SHS project. So as you can see, the questions are slightly different. So they will ask you the project type, the kind of description of the project, also the cost of the project, and also the kind of location, the funding programs. So it really depends on which project type you select. So I'm going to go back. For this demonstration, I'm going to use the SHS roadway project. So the question is pretty straightforward. First question, select the project type that apply to your project. So for this one, I will just check capacity reconstruction. And the second one is please provide a description of the project. So I'll just type in lanes and construction, and describe the project rationale. So the facility is over capacity. What is the FM number? So you type in the project number 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the FDOT roadway ID? Do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The direction of the project will be north to southeast. What is the milepost of the project extent? So from maybe this is 1.0 to 2.0, and the extent of the project, southwest 8th Avenue to southwest 12th Avenue. So the next question is asking you about the truck activities for the project location. So for the truck ADT, I can put in 10,000. Define the request action. So this year we ask you to include the amount of funding for the request action. So request construction funding for fiscal year 27. So if you are requesting $1 million, so we just put 1 million. So based on the funding programs that the project's eligible for. So you put the the funding program names. So for this one, I'll just say that non-applicable. The 12th question is asking you to upload a map of the project. So for this one, I will just upload a project. So as Tom mentioned earlier, that to be eligible for this program, you have to have a PDIE funded for this project. So for this one, I would say ongoing, and please provide the link for this PDIE. So I'll just do this portal link. This page number, project number, work program will be kind of the information for the PDE status of the project. So in that link, maybe it's 12, page 12, project number is 1, 2, 3, 4. The work program really is the work program that for that PDE study. So I'll just say 5-year program. So the year is 2025. The PDIE funded amount of money is, I'll just say $10,000. So the following question is kind of a specific breakdown of each phase of this project. I'm gonna quickly put some numbers. So for example, the construction, you click on the edit button and it will give you to another pop-up window. And so I'll just put some numbers here. $10 million, and 2030 will also have $10 million. Maybe it's ongoing. I'll just submit. So now you can see the numbers reflected in the table. So the 14th question is the kind of provide the URL and the references to the program that has the project information. So I'll just put the link for this program and then page number, maybe it's 1, 2, 3. Project reference number is project 1, 2, 3. So that's kind of the second step of this process. So hit continue. So the third step is asking for some additional information of the project you're submitting. So is this project identified as a great priority project by MPO? So check yes or no. Identify the plans for the documenting the project. So if you have any documents, please put it here. So let's just say RRTP here, page number is 1, 2, 3, project number is 1, 2, 3. So you do the same thing for this for the third question, which is asking you the project matching fund. If you have any matching fund resources, matching fund sources, so you please put the information here. The fourth question is this project on a priority-free network? If yes, please provide the links that give us the reference to this project. The fifth question is the whether the project supports FTP's goals. So check all that apply. So for this one, I'll just pick 1, 2, and 3. And there's also a link for the FTP documentation that you can use here at the bottom. And also, please provide some brief statement to how this project supports FTP. So I'll just say improve the traffic flow and improve the free mobility. So once you finish all the 3 steps, you'll see there's a button called finish. Just click on that finish button. Okay, so there's a warning sign for this link information. I'll just check no. once you finish everything, everything is set to go. So click on the finish button, and you will see a message on the top which says our FPP application has been completed. The project now can be submitted during the submission period. So you will be directed to the portal, and you will see that at the bottom that's the new project we just have created. So at this step, we have not submitted the project yet. So you have to click on the submit button to make sure that you submit the project. So there's a kind of statement that you have to agree. Click on the check, agree and submit, and click on the agree and submit button. So the top will give you the message that the application has been successfully submitted for review. So both Tom and I will get a system generated email notification that the application is submitted. We'll begin our review process. As you can see, the submit button is kind of grayed out, so you will not be able to do anything after you hit the submit button. There's also this year, there's also a summary report, which you can click on this report. It will give you the option to download a PDF, which have all the basic information of the project you have just made it. So as you can see, it's a PDF which has all the summary information. So that's the second topic I'm covering for today, which is a project summation. So before moving on to the last one, I want to pause here to see if anyone has any questions.
I thought just to reiterate on one of the things you covered about submitting plan links, I just want to emphasize for any resubmittals, you check those links to make sure they're the current version of the plans. I know in the past, a few reviews we've done, we've had a few stale links. So just make sure you're updating those with the most current links to those plans you want to reference.
All right, thank you, Tom. So the third topic is I want to introduce today is the resubmission, how to resubmit a new previous year's project. So some of you are probably working on the multi-year project, so you want to resubmit a project that has been submitted last year. So I'm going to show you how to do that, which is a very easy process. So assume that we want to submit a I-95 interchange, which I have started from 2023. So the system will retain all the information that you have entered from 2023, so you do not have to start over. But we recommend you to kind of go over each question to see if your answer still applies. So I'm going to start with step one. So all the information looks good. This second page, second step also is good. So some of the information might change over the years, like ADT, truck ADT. So maybe for this year, the truck ADT is 10,000. So you just go there and update the number. Let's say maybe this is 2024 FDOT information. And you basically do the same thing with the new project summation. As you can see, it's asking some new questions. So
yeah, as I kind of covered in that previous slide, it does wipe the funding table from your previous year's submission, just so we make sure we have the latest funding information. So that's why that error was thrown.
Yes. Yes. So I know we are kind of out of time. So once you finish each of the step, you do the same thing. Finish the 3 steps and go back to the portal and hit the submit button, and Tom and I will receive an email notification, and we'll begin our review process.
Yep. And then look out for those auto-generated portal emails to let you know the review is completed. And then we usually typically send a personalized email to just to make sure you get that information that the review is completed and it's ready for your changes, or it has successfully been submitted. So Haitao, I'm going to take over the sharing for one last second just to go quickly over the schedule in our last minute here.
Okay.
Okay, can everyone see my screen? Haitao, can you see it? Yep, okay, cool. So just to quickly go over the schedule here, it is the next event within the FPP process is going to be the rescheduled MPOAC meeting. That is actually tomorrow. Typically, that would occur in January with a call of projects. This year it got moved because of the snowstorm that happened in North Florida. So I will be presenting again a lot of the information we covered today at the MPOAC meeting tomorrow to the committee leadership. So that's the next step. And then on Friday, the login passwords will be distributed to you and the application portal will be open and ready for you to submit your projects. So you'll have a month-long period to do that submittal process. Applications will close on the 28th. And I just want to make sure that you are thinking about submitting these projects with a little bit of time to buffer for the 28th, just so we can review the projects and get any questions back out to you for any questions that we have on any of the material that was submitted as part of your application. I will send reminder email that final week to make sure you've submitted all that you wanted to submit and to let you know that the application is being closed. One little minor point too I wanted to make is on the 27th, I will become unavailable for the next 3 weeks. My wife is actually expecting and our child is due the 28th, so kind of matching up on dates there. So Haitao will be available to take any questions after that March 27th date. And then I will also have a fill-in. His name is Ishan Keskar. He will also be available, and both of their contact information will be made available. So you can shoot any questions that you have on projects over to them after that March 27th date. So after the application portal closes, Haitao and Ishan will work on developing that project list after the 28th, and then we will send it over to all the participating agencies on April 14th through the 18th. You'll have a week to review that public-facing document just to make sure you're good with all the information that's included and give a final thumbs up on it. And then the list will be presented at the MPOAC meeting. I believe that's April 24th. So the committee will have its opportunity to formally endorse the list. And once it's formally endorsed, it will be sent off to the FDOT leadership. So it kind of concludes our slide deck for today and training session. Are there any final questions for us before we close up?
There are
Okay.
no questions currently, Tom.
Perfect. Thank you, Lauren. So if any questions do come up, I do have our contact information here. As I said, after the 27th, Ishan will be kind of taking over for my end, but Haitao will still be available. Go ahead and contact him or Ishan, and their information is provided here and will also be available on the portal. So thank you for everyone taking the time, and sorry we went a little bit over today, but like I said, any questions come up, feel free to reach out to us. Next steps, I will be presenting at the MPOAC tomorrow, and then you will receive your login passwords on Friday. So thanks again for attending, and we hope you found it useful.